Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Good morning everyone, bright and early for the Game Week 7 deadline stream. So I see a lot of you guys in the chat already, thank you for coming early. Game Week 7, again, lots to talk about. Hopefully we get some leaks along the way, but I have already made one transfer. And if you guys watched the team selection video, you'll realize that I was kind of debating between Luis Diaz to Brennan Johnson, and I've made that move last night before the price rise for Brennan Johnson. So I'll speak more about it in a bit, but for now, this is the team that I have. Let's say hi to some of you guys in the chat. VJ, nice to see you. Always the first, bright and early. Hi from York, UK. Lewis as well, watching from USA. This is 11:27 p.m. Good evening to you. Good night. Rank 329 in your mini league. Selling Salah for power. Done. What up, Kavit? Nice to see you. Sitting 97k in the world right now with 2 free transfers. That's a really good position to be in. Glenn sold Diaz for Palmer. Fair enough. Thinking of rolling rather than doing Murillo to Lewis. That gives me 3 free transfers to attack the Spurs fixture. Well, I think for what it's worth, I do hope we get some leaks on Lewis. But yeah, I mean, if he does not start, I probably just go Greaves instead. Palmer had better deliver. Jelly dude, nice to see you. Member in the chat. Harvard's captain, let's go. Might even do Mitoma to Foden if he starts. Went from 5 million in game week 3 to 97k. Yeah, early midday in Singapore, that's right. Okay, so bright and early. Let's talk through a couple of moves, or one move that I've made so far already. And that is Luis Diaz to Brennan Johnson. So there was going to be a price rise for Brennan Johnson last night. So I had to make a bit of an, I guess you could say, early call on whether Diaz will start or not. Now, obviously, because they are the early kickoff, I do think we will get some leaks. It's not confirmed by any means, but I think we will get some leaks. So you could argue that I could have waited, but Brennan Johnson was going to rise in price, and also Luis Diaz earlier in the week already rose, so I have managed to bank an extra 0.1 million from 2 price rises from Luis Diaz since I brought him in. So I'm not too kind of I don't mind parting ways with Luis Diaz, given that I've already made some team value from him. And then Brennan Johnson was already going to rise in price. So that's pretty much why I've brought him in, made an early call on the fact that I think Diaz probably doesn't start. And yeah, Brennan Johnson, I think for the foreseeable future, can be in my team for quite a while. So I've made a couple of kind of forward-thinking plans already, and I'll share that in a bit. But Brennan Johnson is part of my plans moving forward. In the end, or come game week 12, he will become someone like Palmer, for example. So he's not going to be here forever, but with the fixtures that they have coming up, it's mainly why I've moved for him. And I mean, Brighton away, they don't have Van Heck now for quite a while. So I actually think this is a fixture that, hopefully Brennan Johnson can continue to keep up his run of, I think, 5 goals in 5 games now. So it's pretty incredible. So yeah, I mean, pretty much that's what I've done. Luis Diaz and Brennan Johnson. The rest of the team is pretty much standard, I would say. Right, I haven't made any kind of changes aside from this move since I wildcarded last week. So Flecken in goal has Wolves. In the back line, it's Gabriel, Trent and Lewis, all with decent enough fixtures. Again, the main concern is Lewis, so I'm hoping we get some leaks on him. Midfield 5 is pretty alright, pretty strong, I feel. Right, Semenyo and Rogers as the enablers, and then Mbumo, Johnson and Saka. So up front it's Havertz and then Haaland captain. I am kind of thinking a little bit as to whether maybe I should go Saka captain. So maybe we should start off this stream with a captaincy poll. Let's do a captaincy poll. Lots of options this week. Who is your captain for game week 7? Let's go with Haaland, Saka, Salah and Palmer. I'm gonna assume that people will be looking at these main four options, so I'd be interested to see. I would think that Haaland is probably going to be the standout one out of all the others, but I want to see out of Saka, Palmer, and Salah, where you guys are landing. Michael says, going forward, no Haaland to 9 game weeks. I think moving forward, there's a discussion to be had as to whether, I mean, especially when fixtures turn for Chelsea and Arsenal, which is in game week 12, that's when people would want a lot of the premium midfielders. So players like Saka, Palmer, Salah as well. You want to fit all these players, maybe Trent as well. Do you give up on Haaland? I think I for the time being, I don't have any plans to do so. But I think from game week 12 onwards, or game week 13, people are starting to consider whether to remove Haaland. For the run of fixtures that reads Nottingham Forest at home, Crystal Palace away, Manchester United at home, Aston Villa away, right, before getting him back in game week 18 again, where they have a decent enough run. So Everton all the way until Ipswich, it's decent. So that's mainly why I think people are actually considering that. For now, I don't actually have any real plans to sell him. Based on my own transfer routes, I think I'm fine to keep him for now. So I have seen kind of people consider that, so it is interesting. Why is everybody saying that Gakpo will start instead of Diaz? Well, simply Gakpo hasn't played a lot of minutes, and he's playing decently well, in fact. So there is growing kind of speculation that, you know, the fact that Luis Diaz played quite a bit of minutes the previous game week, in game week 6, and then in midweek as well in the Champions League, he also played a significant amount of minutes. So against Crystal Palace, who probably aren't the best team right now, I mean, the way that they're playing is not super convincing. Maybe Arne Slot doesn't think that he needs to field such a strong side. So maybe Luis Diaz drops down to the bench. There's a lot of speculation going on. A lot of the predictors actually have themselves quite split in terms of this Diaz and Gakpo decision. Like half of them, there's a group on Twitter by Jump the Wave, who's Emma. You guys can go check it out on Twitter, but she has a group of predictors for every single team. And the Liverpool predictors mostly think that it's kind of 50-50, right? Whether Diaz or Gakpo will start. So hopefully we get some leaks that'll help us out. James, watching from Ireland, nice to see you. Enjoy the show. Good luck to everyone. Scorch, no, you're not late. We are early today. We are early. I think Trent needs to be downgraded with the amount of options we have in attack, between 7 and 9 million. I tend to agree with you, especially moving forward with all the midfield premium options like Saka, Palmer. I think even Foden comes into the question quite a bit moving forward. I do agree with you that Trent is probably the make way or is going to be the key to unlocking a lot of these premium midfielders. There is about 100 of you guys watching already. Thank you for coming early today. If you haven't, please do drop a like on the stream. That would be much appreciated. JP Core, nice to see you. Why not Palmer? Captaincy, I honestly think Palmer for captaincy this week is not as good as some of the other options that we have. FPL Vasilios, nice to see you. Good morning. Good move. Just waiting for leaks before the deadline if I'm going to use your one free transfer. Yeah, fair enough. I just wanted to beat the price rise for Brennan Johnson. Going Saka, fair enough. Saka is an overrated player, never a captain option. Haaland, very obvious captain. Well, I think the nature of, I guess, both of them, right, Saka and Haaland, if you kind of ask me who I think is more hungry for goals, it's probably Haaland. I don't think Saka comes across to me as... I said this in the team selection video. I don't think Saka comes across to me as a player that is desperate for goals. He's happy enough to get the result for his team. And, you know, if that means him creating chances or getting the odd goal here and there, like I don't think he's too hard up about it. I think there are other ways that Saka can contribute, but Haaland mainly his contribution to the team is getting goals, and that's why he is, I feel, more hungry for them. So obviously when you're choosing a captain option, we want the one who's just hungry to score over and over again. And for me, that is Haaland. So that's probably why I'm on him right now. Any news on Diaz yet? Nope, not yet. It's 2:35 over here. I'm interested to see where all of you guys are watching from. If you haven't dropped it in the chat, let me know where you guys are watching the stream from. Always interested to see where the audience is and where my viewers are watching from. Foden is also an option now, yes. Diaz going to start. Hopefully we get some leaks later on. Yeah, FPL Vasilios, I tend to agree with that as well. Don't have Haaland from 1 to now. I'm planning no transfers to game week 9. Fair enough. Obvious choices often fail, or am I wrong? Last week, for example. I mean, last week was honestly, I feel, like a bit of a blip. Like, it was one of those game weeks, right? One of those kind of... I mean, almost every decision that the wild card for game week 6 made went wrong. So usually it's not the case. Usually it's not that bad. So hopefully this week it gets better. I mean, the team on paper, again, carrying on from the game week 6 wildcard, it does look strong. Like, I mean, I look at my team this week and I honestly think on paper it can do very well. But famous last words, right? Last week it also looked good on paper and it just did not turn out well at all. Triple captain Haaland or wait until the Southampton fixture? I don't think triple captain Haaland is something I do this week. Probably the Southampton fixture is the next real kind of decision point for that, I'd say. Havertz or Gabriel as the third Arsenal for this week? Third Arsenal, who are your first two? Who are your... Saka and then Raya, assuming it's Raya. I mean, if I had to choose one between having an attacker or a defender this week for Arsenal, I would go for the attacker. I think goals are there for Arsenal today. Do you think Lewis starts? I've got Leaf Davies against West Ham. Kind of tempted to start him instead. I mean, hopefully we get leaks. If not, I think you have a great ready replacement in Leaf Davis. I think he's a great option to have. McNeil, I like him as an option. I've started looking at game week 8 wildcard drafts already. And I will be recording a video after this on the game week 8 wildcard, and McNeil is in there. Can we get Leon to 100 likes? Can we get to 100 likes? Let's see. We are currently on 25 likes. There's about 137 of you guys watching. If you haven't already, please do drop a like on the stream. Really helps the algorithm. What do you think about Vardiol versus Robertson versus Trent? Like, I think for the time being, it has to be Vardiol, right? With the fixtures that they have moving forward. Bench Rodgers or Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Jelly Dude. This one is a tricky one. I've seen a couple of questions on this. I might be tempted to go Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if I'm honest, because of the penalties. But Rodgers against Manchester United. I mean, for what it's worth, I do think like United would try to shore up the defense. I mean, they just did horribly last week against Spurs. It's tricky. Rodgers and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm leaning Calvert-Lewin for now. ADG says, hi Leon, start one please. Eze, Minte and Konza. So Eze has Liverpool. Minte has Spurs. And Ezri Konza has United. I don't think I'll start the defender. So it's between Eze and Minte for me. But I'm not really backing Crystal Palace to do that well as well. And Minte against Spurs. Maybe Eze. Maybe Eze out of the three. Christian says from Colombia. Very, very nice. What's the logic behind going for Johnson over Foden? Not to worry, there will be Phil Foden in my team soon enough. Like, I have a route for him. I will show you guys the kind of transfer plans that I mapped out for my team. But basically, I felt like even if I did Luis Diaz to Johnson this week, it will not block my future transfers from getting Palmer, from getting Foden as well, right? So it's only because I looked ahead and I'm happy with the options that I will still have moving forward. That was one of the main reasons why I was happy enough to make this Brennan Johnson move. Poland, very, very nice. Michael, Glenn says Copenhagen, Denmark, very, very cool. Imagine Diaz Halls and Johnson blanks. I mean, I knew someone had to say that in the chat. Anything can happen though. If that happens, I just have to take it on the chin. For the coming weeks, I am considering Van de Ven as a defensive option for Spurs more than Porro. I like his initiative to go forward with his speed to create chances in the game. I mean, to be fair, that assist against Manchester United, I don't think I've seen anything like it before in the Premier League. His pace is honestly quite insane. So, yeah, I mean, I can see the appeal, and he does have decent enough kind of goal involvement threat. So, thinking Eze to Johnson and Welbeck to Delap for a -4. You know what? I don't mind those moves. Because you can keep Johnson and Delap for a significant enough amount of time. So I think those hits could pay off. 4:45 p.m. in Sydney, Australia. Very nice. Hillbilly. As a Chelsea fan, I'm keeping Palmer for the entire season. I don't care about the fixtures. It is just how I play. Fair enough. You had him since game week 3, so you got the haul against Brighton. Selling Burn for Lewis for a -4, is it worth it? I think you wait on that move. Hopefully we get leaks on Lewis, but I think you wait for more information. If I'm to guess now, I honestly think it's maybe 70% that Lewis doesn't start. So I'm not super confident that he'll start. I may count the deadline have to do Greaves in and Lewis down to the bench. For the rest of us who don't have him, it's probably too late now. I've seen people move for Palmer this week. I think if you do it this week, I think it's a little bit more justified. Next week against Liverpool, I'm not sure you bring him in. So it's either this week or maybe at the earliest, game week 9. Probably. I can't see people moving for Palmer in game week 8. We should enjoy Ten Hag this weekend while he's here. Most likely gone on Monday. Took a punt from Soboslai to Shada in my draft format, praying for a start and a return. I mean, Shada for me, not really an FPL option. Draft-wise, I mean, fair enough, but yeah, he hasn't been getting consistent starts, so. What do you think of João Pedro, Jota, and Martinez to Solanke, Brennan Johnson, and Muric? I need Muric for the money. I don't mind those moves, actually. I don't mind it. Especially if those 3 moves are for free. Trent Robertson is so tempting. Data is similar, 1 million cheaper. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I go for any Liverpool players right now. Like, if I have them here, it's simply because I've carried them through, I think, my wild card. Like, even game week 6 wildcarders, like some of them didn't go for many Liverpool players, and it's simply because of the fixtures, right? Like, it's after game week 7 and game week 8 is Chelsea, then Arsenal, Brighton, and then Aston Villa, right? So not easy fixtures by any means, I'd say. Which forward to move down from Mateta, looking at wildcard 12? Cheaper forwards wise, if you're wildcarding in game week 12, I don't mind someone like a Chris Wood, but he has Chelsea away now. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think Delap, decent as well. Vardy, if you want to go there. Those are the kind of cheaper forwards I'm looking at. But if you are at Mateta, you're kind of at a price range where you can go for Solanke as well if you don't have him. Should I captain Palmer or Salah? Let's see the poll. Yeah, Palmer and Salah are actually 6% for both of them. Very interesting. I mean, Haaland, the standout captain again. I don't think that one was a surprise. Jishar says Calvert-Lewin, Vardy, or Delap for a -4. Right, if I have to choose one now, I think I still choose Calvert-Lewin out of the rest of them. Mandeep says, hi mate, news is that Mykolenko is out, yep, but I have bench cover in Aina and Greaves, not great. Should I look to replace Mykolenko or roll the transfer and play one of them? Cheers. I don't think Mykolenko is going to be out for super long. And I might take the chance on Greaves against West Ham. Like, that's my preference if I'm to kind of compare between Greaves and Aina. Christian says, Kulu is my bet. Very nice. I think Kulusevski, Maddison, Johnson, they all make kind of decent enough shouts for being in our teams. For now, I still prefer Johnson. Could be a bit of, maybe recency bias. VJ says, aiming for 10,000 subscribers before Christmas. Yeah, I might do like a charity drive or something. Like, for us to hit 10,000 subscribers. Like, I might just like donate like maybe 20 pence per subscriber from now all the way until Christmas. From now until 10,000 subscribers. I've been thinking about it. Maybe I should do it. I'll get it set up in a bit. Maybe after the stream. Vincent, nice to see you in the chat. Which would you prefer to start? Diaz, Aina, Vandenberg, Kulu, Lewis, 8 Nuri / Vandenberg for a -4. I'd say the Kulu one. I'd say the Kulu combination. Maddison and Delap or Johnson and Calvert-Lewin. Pool fan says, I've sold Salah for Saka and captained him. Fair enough. I mean, in isolation, like for the rest of you guys with Salah, like I don't think Salah is a sell this week. But that's just about Salah in kind of isolation. Evan Nilsson or Delap? I chose Evan Nilsson. I feel like I've made a mistake. You still have the Leicester game now. And the thing is, if you have decent enough rotation, you would want Bournemouth assets after game week 10. From game week 11 onwards, you look at the fixture ticker, it's good all the way until 20. Which is also the reason why I don't intend to sell Solanke. Like, he's just going to sit on my bench for Arsenal, Villa and City. Bowen for 1 game week punt. Nah, not. I think there are better players to punt on this week. Are you tempted to captain an Arsenal attacker? To be honest, I think the only other one that I'm quite tempted to... I don't think I'm that kind of an FPL manager, but if I want to go a bit different, like say for example, I wanted to, I don't know, chase mini league for example, because I'm playing for rank now, but if I'm kind of chasing mini league, I might just do like Havertz or something, I honestly think Havertz does well this week. Should I play Rodgers or James Justin? I'd say Rodgers. Rodgers for Johnson? Nah, I like Johnson. Like Brennan Johnson, I assume. And for those looking ahead as well, Aston Villa's fixtures from game week 8 until game week 13, so the next 6 game weeks after game week 7, Aston Villa are actually bottom of the fixture ticker. Like let me show it to you guys. So I don't think I go like buying Aston Villa players now. Yeah. Let me pull up the fixture ticker. So this is from Fantasy Football Hub. Right, so what I've done is game week 8 to game week 13. I mean the next 6 game weeks essentially after this Manchester United fixture for Villa. All the way at the bottom is where they are. Aston Villa. I mean the run reads like Fulham, Bournemouth, Tottenham, Liverpool, Palace, Chelsea. And you look at the Tottenham, Liverpool and Chelsea fixtures, they're all away. So honestly speaking, I don't think now is the time that we go out to buy kind of Villa assets. Like if you have them, you can very well keep them, but I don't think like I'd be buying them. Havertz over Haaland as a captain. I like him as a differential. Lewis says, question, would you rather go Calvert-Lewin to Watkins or Muniz to Havertz or Solanke to Mitoma? Sorry. Muniz to Havertz or Solanke or Mitoma for Foden. Thanks so much. I'm fine to keep Calvert-Lewin, so I'll start with that. And I like Solanke for the longer term. Right, so if you can bring these players in and then get Foden down the line, that's probably what I do. Do you think Luis Diaz starts? It's 50-50. It's hard to call, so hopefully we get some leaks. My guess is he doesn't. That's just my guess. I've had to make an early decision on that yesterday when I moved for Brennan Johnson and sold Luis Diaz. So I guess that gives you a bit of an indication on how confident I am Diaz starts, which is not very. Should I transfer Salah and Smith Rowe to Saka and Mbeumo? If you intend to keep Saka for the long term, through the difficult fixtures as well, I don't mind it. It's even more worth it if you are keen on captaining Saka. Thomas Frank in his press conference said that Vissa is back on grass. That is great news. Thoughts on Cunha seems to go under the radar. Fixtures look nice. I like him as a pick. I think now in game week 7, he will have Brentford. But in game week 8, he has Man City. So I think if you don't go for him now in game week 7, which I doubt many people are going to go for Cunha now, he is going under the radar, but I do like him as a pick. Then I think people will move for him in game week 9 instead. So I might look at him as well from game week 9 onwards. Hey mate, Malaysia fan here. Should I start Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Rodgers? I'd say Calvert-Lewin still. Like I'm leaning... I know this question is going to be asked quite a bit today. I still lean towards Calvert-Lewin. It is close though. Like if you have a gut feel on Rodgers, then go with that. Like it's honestly that close. They don't have Haaland, but 3 Liverpool and 3 free transfers. You probably would look to get Haaland in soon, right, for this fixture run. Mbeumo captain instead of Haaland/Salah. I don't mind it. But it's Fulham, right? It's Fulham for Haaland. Do you expect him not to score? I think he probably does. Who to switch Pedro with? No money in the bank. Is that João Pedro? If it's João Pedro, I think you could go like a Delap, Vardy, for example. Those are the cheaper ones I look at. Semenyo or McNeil. If I'm buying one now, it's McNeil. Best João Pedro replacements. Due to future transfers, I can't go any higher. Yeah, I mean, let me have a greater look in the cheaper forwards options. Sort by price. So I think Delap. You can't afford Calvert-Lewin if you can't go up. So it's Delap. Vardy is also at 5.7. João Pedro is at 5.5. Like if you have at least 0.1, then I'd go up to like a Vardy or Delap. If not downwards, there's honestly not a lot of options. Like I don't want to, I mean Strand Larsen, like do you want to go there? That's probably the only one I think. Aside from that, it is thin. It is thin. So it's either you take all the money out and put it in midfield, for example, or you just go for one of those kind of less than ideal picks, I would say. Like who's the 5.5 that we spoke about just now? Strand Larsen, yeah. But from Wolves, I would rather Cunha. So that's why I probably wouldn't do that also. I have Watkins, Saka, and Salah. Can't decide on captaincy. What do you think? Right, if it's between Watkins, Saka, and Salah, I won't captain Watkins. Also, on Aston Villa, for what it's worth, I think today might be the day we see Watkins and Duran start, because there are a couple of injuries for Aston Villa, like Jacob Ramsey and McGinn. I think both of them are out. So it leaves room for John Duran to start, which I would love to see. Maybe that's good for Watkins' minutes, but I don't think I would captain him. So it's between Saka and Salah, in which case I think I slightly prefer Saka. Start Robinson or Aina. This one is tricky. Probably Aina. Both of them have horrible fixtures though, but I think it's more... for what it's worth, I think both concede. What do you think about Kudus in, Luis Diaz out? I don't really like Kudus. Not really a fan. I think as a player, he's great. As an FPL option, I think the chances he gets, not super high quality chances. He's kind of an FPL asset that has very low XG. And even last season as well, that was the trend. The only thing is that we saw him scoring a lot of those chances from the low XG kind of shots. Outside the box, for example, he took plenty of shots and he managed to score. So he's that kind of an FPL asset. So that's why I'm not super keen. BJ, thank you very much for being a member for 10 months. Really, really appreciate it. Villa could beat anyone, to be fair. Don't really trust the fixture difficulty rating. I agree with that on the fixture difficulty rating. Like it is a bit wonky sometimes. But even without it, like I look at the fixtures, Villa could beat anyone, fair enough. But I think it's more tricky than the other kind of runs that I see for other teams. And that's mainly the reason why I wouldn't be buying like Villa assets, right? I won't put you off it though. If you are hot on Villa, fair enough. Worth taking a hit to change for Bruggen to Flecken/Sells or just keep? I don't really like keeper transfers, so probably not. Especially now when I think there will be more urgent transfers in, say, midfield, for example, where you want to go for the more high upside moves. Then that's probably what I would go for. John, good evening from Australia. Thank you for tuning in. Gary as well, very, very nice. Team looks strong. Was Johnson your transfer in this week? Yes, it was. What about Strand Larsen from game week 10 if you can't afford Cunha? I prefer Cunha, basically. I'm not super hot on Strand Larsen. Like, I would try to stretch to Cunha. In fact, like, if I can't get to Cunha, then I wouldn't even go for Strand Larsen. That's what I think. Should I bench Lewis for 8 Nuri or just leave Lewis in my starting 11? Well, hopefully we get enough leaks on Lewis, which I think will come in closer to the deadline. So for the time being, I can't really answer that. If there's no leaks though, then I guess you just have to take the gamble and start Lewis. Thoughts on Rico Lewis? Okay, for what it's worth, I honestly don't think he will start. But that's my guess. Like, I have no leaks whatsoever. That's just based off of my own gut feel, as well as the minutes that he's been playing. what is your plan with Forest assets? So Chris Wood becomes Cunha by the time I think, right? So Chris Wood has decent enough fixtures even until the Wolves fixtures turn, so I don't have to sell Chris Wood that urgently. I think game week 11 is probably when I'm looking to sell Chris Wood for a for someone like Cunha. So that's the thinking behind Wood. For Aina, I think based on rotations wise, I can kind of rotate him with Gabriel, Trent, and Lewis. And for the time being, I don't think Trent is going to be in my team for a very long period of time moving forward. So I'm going to look to rotate Aina with one of the other options that I bring in this Trent position. So Aina, basically a longer lifespan in my team, Wood probably going to leave soon. What do you think about Harvard's captain? I like it if you're going differential. I am on a wildcard. What are the must-haves? I did an updated wildcard draft. I've had a look at it before today's stream. I don't think it changes too much as well, so you can refer to that one. When are City playing? I need Lewis leaks. They are the 3 p.m. kickoff today, so for what it's worth, I think there's a good chance we get leaks. Start Calvert-Lewin or Rodgers. I'm leaning towards Rodgers for now. Only route to Haaland is 3 transfers. Salah, Watkins, Pedro, out to Haaland, Solanke and Carvalho. Then I just keep. I don't think I make the move this week. I keep Salah, Watkins and João Pedro, I mean you bench him. Bring in Porro, Madison, Solanke, or Porro, Foden, Calvert-Lewin. I don't think I would want to be tripled up on Spurs. As good as they've been, the fact of the matter is that in the first few game weeks, it was pretty much the same kind of team structure as well. But they struggled a little bit, even against slightly easier opposition. So I won't be too reactionary on Spurs to the point where I triple up on them moving forward. But I like their assets, and I also think maybe having 1 or 2 attackers should be the way moving forward. As for defenders wise, I don't think it's a must, but it's between Porro and Van de Ven. Do you think Delap has good minutes? Do Ipswich have any decent backups? At least for the next few game weeks, I still think Delap keeps his spot. Minutes wise, I think he has been good as well, which is why many have been looking at him. I haven't drilled into his minutes, but it's 73, 82, 80, 58, 72 and 90 against Villa. Especially after he scored 2 goals, I don't see him losing out a spot. And XG wise, it has been pretty decent, I'll say. 0.21 XGI against Fulham and against Brighton away as well. I think he's decent value for the price that he's at. And the fixtures moving forward are good also. Right, except the Spurs and United game, I don't think you mind starting Delap all the way until Wolves. So I honestly don't mind him. Any concerns about not having Liverpool attacking assets? Not really. Not really. Saka cappers, you guys are brave. I have Dalot. I was thinking, okay, I'll be honest, I was looking at Manchester United assets because if I go back to the... Okay, I know what people are going to say in the chat the moment I bring in Manchester United. Everyone loves them. Everyone loves Bruno Fernandes. But for what it's worth, you look at the fixture ticker for Manchester United from game week 8 to game week 13, they are top of the ticker. Right, it's Brentford at home, West Ham away, Chelsea at home, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, and Everton at home. It's a good kind of decent run of home fixtures, and then away it's against teams that aren't, super difficult to play against, like West Ham and Ipswich. So let me know what you guys think. like I think it's worth having a look at, but I also know people have this stigma about Manchester United assets. Let me know what you think about like players like Bruno Fernandes. He's like 8% owned right now. And Darlow, I think also someone I kind of looked at while I was on a wild card, thinking when I should bring Manchester United players in. Yeah, but I want to know what you guys think. Thank you for subscribing, Prahash. For those of you who haven't done so, please do subscribe to the channel. It really helps. And drop a like as well if you enjoy the stream. How many likes are we on at the moment? 66 likes. Please help us get to 100 likes, and that would be incredible. Should I remove Diaz, and who should I replace him with? Right, for Diaz, I think you wait for leagues. The only reason why I've moved early is because I am planning to have Johnson in my team, and he was going to rise in price already. So I'm just taking a gamble that he doesn't start, which I think would be the case. So I made a bit of an, I guess you could say, early call on that. It could backfire, but my guess is that he doesn't start. Walker, Diaz, Akanji, and Vardy was sub midweek. Lewis played the whole game. I think he'll be benched. Actually, same here, to be honest. What do you think about Vardy? No one talks about him. I think he had quite a bit of hype, especially when it was between kind of Calvert-Lewin or Vardy for game week 5, if I'm not wrong. He had quite a bit of hype, so it's just that it's died down a bit. Yeah, Iliman Njai is the other 5.5 forward option. Fair enough, but I mean, it's just... I wouldn't be super confident having to start Njai every single week. Like, if I were to rank the Everton assets, for example, I put Calvert-Lewin at the top, and then McNeil, and then it'll be Njai. And Calvert-Lewin is only at the top because of penalties. If I was looking for, or if I was comparing between, say, Rodgers and McNeil, I would go for McNeil right now. That's how highly I rate him at the moment. Lucas says, should I do a -4 for Winks to Trossard to play over Emil Smith-Rowe? I think you have to be wary. Like Odegaard, yeah, the duration of when he'll be back is not confirmed, but you have to be wary of firstly, the Arsenal fixtures that are quite tough from game week 9 to game week 11. And on top of that, after Bournemouth next week, they have that tough run, and then Odegaard could be back after that. I don't think he's going to be gone for super long, though they kind of, came out to say that it's indefinite. I don't think he leaves the Arsenal team for that long. So basically, the duration of time that you actually have Trossard or, say, for example, Martinelli, that you actually want to start them, I think could kind of dwindle down quite a bit. But it's Southampton here, so I can see the appeal as to why you want the immediate gains. So in terms of a short-term option, I think Trossard, Martinelli, they're fine options. Seems like the wrong week to take a chance against Haaland, but I'm tempted. I mean, this is one of those weeks, right? Like Arsenal have Southampton. It's such a plump fixture. I can see why people are tempted. Do you believe in Eze? I'm actually in the boat of managers that if I had free transfers to spare, I would do Eze to Brennan Johnson this week. Yeah. Start Rodgers or Semenyo. Semenyo. Wild face over Konsa? Probably not. Saka, Salah or Palmer this week as a captain. For me, it'll be between Saka and Salah if you don't have Haaland, of which I think I prefer Saka for the slightly easier fixture. Nico Potato says, hello, how you doing? I'm doing good. Hope you're well as well. Have you done any transfers before the stream? Yes, I've done Luis Diaz to Brennan Johnson last night before the price changes. Hi mate, start Mikalenko, Aino or Greaves alongside Gabriel and Lewis. I'd probably go Greaves. Mikalenko, I don't think he will start this game. There's a bit of doubt with him. And then Greaves has the easier fixture. Do you think Foden will play today? Yes, I think Foden will, if I have to make a guess. Transfer to Johnson seems a bit defensive. Trent and Diaz to Foden and Porro next week. Yeah, if I had 2 free transfers, I think I might have done something different. But it's mainly because I only have 1 free transfer. I don't want to take a hit, that's one. And I also have plans moving forward to account for players or bring players like Palmer, Foden, for example, in at the times when I want them. So because of that, I'm not too fussed about having to make this, I won't say it's super defensive kind of a move. Like, I think there is upside as well, because Diaz for the next few game weeks, I think minutes wise he will still be managed, and there's always a threat of Gakpo, and fixtures are not super ideal. But I look at the kind of appeal of Johnson with better minutes and the fixtures that they have being slightly better. That's mainly why I've gone for him. And it's game week 11 against Ipswich is probably the last game week I will have him, so I quite like it. And then from game week 12, I think Johnson might be leaving the team. So based on the transfer plans that I have. Didn't you have Diaz in your squad? Yes, I've already moved on to Brent Johnson. Captain Palmer or Haaland? If it's between the two of them, I prefer Haaland. To be fair, we might get a new manager boost and get good results. If Ten Hag gets the sack, I think people will start jumping on United assets. Like, you can clip this. I think that will be the case. No one should buy Manchester United assets. Ahmad is great value if he starts. I've got him, really hoping that's the case. I actually think like alright, United fans, let me know what you think, but I think Garnacho not starting has been quite confusing for me. I think he's one of the better players for Manchester United at this point. So I don't really know why like Ten Hag isn't starting Garnacho. I think he's, in majority of the game weeks this season, he's like come off the bench. Yeah, but why not start him, you know? Villa is the new Manchester United. Prefer Watkins well over Bruno. On a wild card, should I buy Palmer? If I was wildcarding this week, I will have Palmer. Thoughts on Havertz's captaincy? I don't mind it for a differential. Who will you bench? Luka Dean or Robinson, and Wood or Rogers? I would bench Chris Wood and I'll start Rogers. If it's between Luka Dean and Robinson, I would start Luka Dean. Best Spurs midfielder, I would go Johnson first, Maddison second, and Kulusevski last. Are you planning to get Palmer? Yes, I plan to get Palmer in game week 12. Ricky, nice to see you. Glad you were able to make it. Considerations for Johnson over Maddison. If you're asking why I did Johnson over Maddison, I think Johnson is more the goal scorer than Maddison. Like, I know Maddison has picked up, I think, 1 goal this season. He can very well score, but Johnson to me feels less of a creator than he is a finisher. And the form he's in recently, in terms of goal scoring, has been good. So I think that's good for his confidence. So I'm kind of trying to hop on that a little bit. And he's cheaper than Maddison. So he opens up the different options for me later down the line. I would want Palmer later on. I would want Foden as well. I'm just using these kind of next few game weeks, game week 7 and game week 8, to assess the minutes for Foden. In which case, if it's good, I might bring him in. Also waiting on news on Kevin De Bruyne. If De Bruyne continues to be out, then I think the appeal of Foden just gets so much better. Why didn't you tell us about Johnson? I made it last night. I made it last night before the price changes. I was speaking in the Discord with some of the members, and I told them that I was going to make this move. But yeah, it's hard to update as I'm making those transfers like late at night. Ricardo, hi there from Cape Verde. Nice to see you. Is it good to play Haaland as a standalone striker? I have both Palmer and Salah. I don't mind it, but it's simply just the value you're passing up then. Like Solanke, for example, at 7.5 million, it's going to be an asset that I think could even match, say for example, Salah in the next few game weeks when Liverpool's fixtures are tricky. So it's just kind of where you want to spend your money. Toby says Mikel Merino will assist Saka, I suppose. Yeah, Mikel Merino is back. I honestly can't tell at the moment how that affects the other kind of attackers. For the time being, I don't think it will. But maybe we will see something soon, like if Arteta is, keen to experiment. Magnus says, big question for me today. Haaland or Palmer captain? What do you think? It's Haaland for me. It's Haaland. Why do you think Gabriel Jesus started in the first match day in the Champions League? Do you think he's worth going for? Nah, probably not. We will either look smart or dumb captaining Saka, but I have to get something risky right. I would say this week, if you want to have a go at the Arsenal versus Southampton game and back the attackers, I wouldn't put you off it at all. I would honestly think that is a bloodbath for Arsenal. They're just gonna win. 5-0, I'd even say that is very possible. Should I bench Savinho or Semenyo? I would start both. Is there anyone else you can bench? Semenyo or Johnson for this game week? This game week alone, I think Semenyo. If it's just this game week and I'm kind of speaking about both of these players and how well I think they will score, I think it's Semenyo. But if you are buying one of these players, then I would buy Johnson, because the horizon for you to use Johnson as an FPL option is going to be longer. You can use him for the next few game weeks, but Semenyo has tricky fixtures from game week 8 onwards. Bison says, hi, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. I hope you are as well. Last game week, I rightly chose to bench Calvert-Lewin over Rodgers. Do I do it again, even if Villa is playing Manchester United? Well, I wouldn't have done that last week, so maybe you know better than me. What do you think, or what would you do in terms of Calvert-Lewin over Rodgers? For probably the whole of this stream, I've been saying that I'm leaning towards Calvert-Lewin in the starting 11 and Rodgers on the bench. What do you think? Garnacho and Ahmad have been our best wingers for a long time. He just seems to be in love with Rashford. Joe says, because Rashford earns 350k per week, he can't be dropped. Fair enough. If I'm the manager though, Garnacho in there right away. If you sell Trent, who will you get instead? It's 8 Newry that I'm looking at right now. I would like to captain Havertz this week. I won't put you off it. Go for it. If you think it's worth the risk, go for it. When Son recovers, will he be higher scoring than Johnson, Solanke, etc.? Maybe, with penalties, maybe. But I won't say it's like worth the extra. I won't say it's straightforward that Son is worth the extra, I think, 0.4 that you're going to spend above as compared to Johnson. Thoughts on Edison as a goalie? Alright, great question. I think looking at Man City assets now, if I'm to kind of be on a Game Week 7 wildcard, for example, I think my triple up would be Haaland, Foden, and Vardiol. And if I'm to rank the security of minutes for these three players, I think it's Haaland, guaranteed to start. Then it's Vardiol, who's one of the more secure defenders. And then it's Foden. But Foden would be one of the more risky ones, but one I'm fine to kind of take a risk on because of the potential upside. So that would be my ideal triple up. And because that's the case, I don't think I like the idea of like a double defense like Lewis and Vardiol and then Haaland up front, or Vardiol and Edison, for example, and then Haaland up front. I don't think I prefer that as much as the Foden move. But that is largely coming down to the fact that Kevin De Bruyne is out. Like, that news has such a big impact on Foden's minutes. So I'm giving it a bit more weight there and saying that I prefer Foden over, the other kind of third City assets. Right, lots of chats. Thank you all for tuning in, by the way. There's 320 of you guys. I'll try to get to everyone's questions. If you haven't already, please do drop a like on the stream. It really helps. I'm not sure how many we are on at the moment. We are on 92 likes, so if just 8 of you guys watching can help me out to hit the like button, we will get to the 100 likes aim for the stream. And we can call it a day. My brother is asking if he should sell Salah next week to get Saka and then upgrade Vardy to Solanke. I don't think I would do Salah to Saka next week because it's Bournemouth in game week 8 and then 9 to 11 is tricky. So I don't think that's a move I would do next week. Vardy up to Solanke I like though. Naren says how to become a member. You can just click the join button next to the subscribe, like above me. You can click the join button next to the subscribe button, and then I think there's different tiers that you can choose from if you guys are keen on that. Mazraoui or Rico Lewis? I'd say Lewis. I still prefer Lewis as an option over Mazraoui. Where can we see leaks? I'd like to know if Lewis starts before 12 o'clock. We should get leaks today. It's just not so soon. Like, we are, I think at this point, there is still 2.5 hours to go until the deadline. So it's really like 15 minutes before the deadline where leaks usually come in. Adrian says, hey, from Norway, having a wild card next week, need a defender punt for this week, 4.7 million or less. Leave Davis. It's either him or Ait Nuri as a 1 week punt. 1 week punts get me excited. Like, it's just playing for, it's like free rolling basically. Dominic Calvert-Lewin to the lap. Nah, I wouldn't make that move. Chewy FPL, nice to see you. It's going good. Arnold says, good morning, consult. Buy Mbeumo for free or Havertz for a -4 hit. Mbeumo for free. Sar Eze or Pedro Porro? Pedro Porro. That's how far down I think Eze has fallen for me. This is my first FPL season, and right now I'd be around top 1 million, but in game week 2 I made over 20 transfers, which made me get only 19 points for the game week. Did you forget to click the wildcard button? Trent and Mbumo, or any less than 5.2 defender and Foden. I say I want Mbumo more than I want Foden. So probably Trent and Mbumo. Solanke and Winks, or McNeil and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So Solanke and Winks, but you probably have to bench Winks then. Ali Max says, if you are deciding between who to bench out of Rodgers or Calvert-Lewin, your bench is too good. I think that's the kind of decisions we need to make if we have a deep squad, right? Which is, it's not a bad thing. Like if, for example, I think when you average out the whole maybe 19 game week span of your wild card, I'll not say 19 game weeks, maybe 15, right? Especially now if you're wild carding around this period, it needs to last minimum 15 game weeks until the next wild card. I think having a bit of, or catering for a bit of rotation would just lead to having those kind of deeper benches, which I think I think overall, if you average it out, it probably pays off. So bench points won't feel good, but I think the compromise is worth it. Do you see John Duran starting against United? Yes, I do. I think he will. Any updates on Luis Diaz? Not at the moment. Where can I see those leaks? Okay, if you do want to follow the list that I have made on Twitter, you guys can check it out. It's a public list. It's basically a list of sources that, Twitter sources that provide reliable leaks. So I'll find the link to that. Let me just have a look. Team leaks. Share list. Copy link to list. Alright, so post it in the chat. I'll spam it and you guys can follow. Basically, this is maybe 38 kind of different accounts in there, but all reliable leaks. So the moment you see something there, I back it as a source that I trust. I regularly update it as well. So this season I have continued to use that list and it's been doing good for me. So if you guys want to check it out, feel free. Vincent says Sancho or Kulusevski long term. Kulusevski probably. Morning, Jean-Pierre, nice to see you. Foden and Wood, or Watkins and Johnson? Tricky. Like based on current form, I would say Watkins and Johnson, but Foden and Wood is probably the more exciting kind of, like Foden being there makes it a little bit more exciting, right? Depends what kind of FPL manager you are. If you are the kind of riskier pool of FPL managers, I think Foden and Wood. Start Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Rodgers. I'm leaning Calvert-Lewin now. Do I bench Diaz, Wood, or Rodgers? For now, among those three, I probably think you bench Wood, but hopefully we get leaks on Luis Diaz. Start the deadline stream so early. Yes, I usually stream early. I don't go like 1 hour before the deadline. I try to like stream before all the other YouTubers are streaming, so I don't kind of clash with the big boys. And I quite enjoy like the early streams, if I'm honest. Like, it also gives me a bit of time to collect myself before the deadline. And I usually, after streaming, I go on to the Discord with all the members to continue chatting with them. So I quite like this, I guess, system that we have. Maybe moving forward, there's a couple of options. I think maybe I can just stream all the way until the deadline, but that would be quite long, I'd say. Alternatively, I can just stream just before the deadline like everyone else. But for the time being, I quite like the early streams. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Should we stick with the early streams? Favorite Spurs midfielder for the next few weeks is Brennan Johnson. JT says, hi from Hong Kong. Good luck this game week. Thank you for tuning in. And good luck to you as well. Do I bench Diaz, Wood, or Rogers? I'd say Wood for now. Somehow I managed to triple up on Fulham, Smith Rowe, Raul Jimenez, and Robinson. Hope they do. I mean, if Fulham win City, you're probably the one that benefits. 115 likes, 100 target achieved. Thank you all so much. 128 now, so thank you all for liking the stream. Foden and Van de Ven, or Trent plus Johnson, this week only. I say Trent and Johnson. Vardy or Semenyo. If buying one this week, I would say Vardy. Longer use case in your team as compared to Semenyo, who you'll probably bench from game week 8 to 10. Midfield is Rogers, Palmer, Diaz, Smith Rowe, and Bumo. Can you recommend any changes I can make in the upcoming weeks? Midfielders wise, I think it would probably be moving towards one Spurs midfielder, whether that is Johnson, Maddison, Kulusevski, or Son. You'll probably start to try and bring in one. Mbumo is fine. Other premium midfielders you might be looking at, Foden for example, so if you can find the room for that. Yeah, if not, I think those are pretty much the ones you wanna target. Semenyo or Smith Rowe longer term? Semenyo. Oscar says, bench one of Semenyo, Calvert-Lewin or Rogers. Morning consultant. Semenyo, Calvert-Lewin or Rogers. I would definitely start Semenyo. It's between Calvert-Lewin and Rogers, in which case I'd probably start Calvert-Lewin over Morgan Rogers. Liam Delap or Rogers? Delap. Do you think Jota will start? Or should I take a -4 to drop Trent? I think Jota will probably start. He came off the bench, if I'm not wrong, midweek after picking up a bit of a knock. So I think that Jota will start against Palace. Naren says Discord is only for members. Yeah, Discord tier 2 members and above are all in the Discord. There's about, I think, 60 to 70 people in Discord already. So if you want to join us, feel free. It's a nice kind of cozy FPL community that yeah, I mean, we chat FPL before, after the deadline, all week. So it's a very cool place. Repent Master says, yes, early bird. Yeah, you guys all like the early streams. I like it too. So maybe we keep it for now. Is your wildcard done? I wildcarded in game week 6, but if you want to see my updated game week 7 wildcard draft, then you can see the updated draft that I posted, I think 2 to 3 days ago. Ali Max says, you are a big YouTuber now. I don't think so. Probably a way to go, but yeah, I'm just enjoying the process. I'm just enjoying the videos. I'm enjoying the streams with you guys a lot as well. So enjoying the process and playing FPL. I love it. Will Timber start? My guess is yes. I mean, there's a bit of concerns with him, right? There's a bit of concerns. How will you celebrate when you hit 10k subscribers? Well, I think for the first thing, I would probably crack open a beer or something on stream. But yeah, I honestly, okay, I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant now, but I think when I started the channel, I 10k was always the aim. So at any point this season, if I hit 10k, I will be very, very happy. Like, I started the channel 3 years ago, and when I started the channel, 10k felt like so far away. But now it's like, as we're getting closer, it feels a bit more like a reality. So yeah, I mean, just super thankful. And honestly, if we hit 10k, I think at that moment I'd just be quite emotional. I'd probably say that, but yeah, I'll probably be very, very happy. And yeah, as with all things, I'll probably just, have a good celebration, and then we crack on with more content again. It's probably what I do. Also, I think I'm quite keen to do the charity drive. So maybe from kind of game week 8 onwards, all the way up till the 10k subscriber mark, I'll try to donate a bit of money to charity. So I'll get something going, and then I'll let you guys know in the videos, like how I intend to do the charity drive. But yeah, I do want to do that. Every year we do the charity drive, so I quite like it. Should I sell Trent to make room for Solanke? Yes, Trent is someone that is going to leave my team soon, so I don't mind selling Trent. Do you think I should sell Salah? This then open up an opportunity to buy Palmer and Solanke and Semenyo. I would lose Eze though. I don't think you need to sell Salah this week. I think it can wait like one more week. Don't think memberships are allowed in my country. There's Patreon. I think for those of you who want to join, let me just find the Patreon link. Like, for those of you who want to join the Discord, but memberships aren't allowed, for example, I'm just gonna spam the Patreon link in the chat, for those of you who want to check it out. Sell Luis Diaz and Wood for a -4 to get Solanke and McNeil to bench Rogers. I have Watkins as the Aston Villa asset already. I think I will only make that move if Luis Diaz doesn't start. So I wait for team leaks. FPL Yellow Army, hope you are well. Looking forward to welcoming you on the Form is Temporary podcast next week. Yeah, looking forward to that. I will be on the FPL Yellow Army podcast next week, so excited for that one. Start Dominic Calvert-Lewin or replace Diaz and start his replacement. I think you're fine to start Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Is Haaland versus Southampton a possible triple captain? Very much so. What is one change you would make to your Game Week 7 wildcard draft upon hearing all the press conferences? Let me have a look at the... draft. One change I would make. Right, so let me just put it up on the screen. Yeah, so I have Raya, Porro, Vardiol, and Gabriel, and then Bumo, Johnson, Rogers, Palmer, Havertz, Haaland, and Cunha up front. Like, honestly, the Havertz spot could very well be Dominic Solanke. Would I make that move now? If I do Havertz to Solanke for this wild card, I'd probably go without Porro, and then maybe leave Davies in that spot. But aside from that, I like Cunha. I like 8 Nuri being on the bench as well to rotate. In fact, you could also start 8 Nuri. The thinking behind this draft that I made was mainly that in game week 8, when Cunha and 8 Nuri have Man City, you bench both of them, and then you would start McNeil in the starting 11. So I think because of that, I catered for a bit more rotation so McNeil and 8 Nuri are there on the bench. So it's quite a playable bench. Yeah, so I don't think too many changes I make. Maybe like one. If I want to go for Solanke in place of Havertz, then Porro comes out to like leave Davies or something. Right, so it's probably one change I guess I would make. Do you think Luis Diaz will start? For what it's worth, I think no. But if he does start, my move could backfire. But we'll see. Gary says FPL consult for the PM of Singapore. Good morning. Any tips for my wildcard team? So Flecken, Fabianski, Gabriel, Vardiol, Vanderven, 8 Nuri, Greaves. Salah, Mbumo, Trossard, Johnson and Rogers, Haaland, Solanke and Strand Larsen. I prefer Cunha, and I don't think I'd have Salah on a game week 7 wildcard. Captain Saka if you want one return max. So Haaland is at 71% in the captaincy poll. Does Foden start? We don't have any leaks yet, so let me just check it's the same list basically, like the same list that I sent to you guys just now. Yeah, no news yet. We won't get any leaks until maybe like 15 minutes before the deadline. Can't find this list of linkers from X. Okay, let me pin the list of leaks. I should have done that just now. Okay. Yep, so this is the list of team leaks. So I've pinned it. How many goals will Palmer score today? I think not as many as last week. If he scores like 4 goals again, I can guarantee you there's going to be a sea of FPL managers who are going to bring Palmer in for Liverpool away. And honestly, if he scores 4 goals today, I don't blame them. I think before taking a -4, just see what rank you would be 4 points back, then see if it's really worth it. I probably not how I would look at leaks. How I would look at a 4-point hit. Like, I would try to assess the player you're bringing out and the player you're bringing in. If the player you are bringing in is going to outscore the player that's leaving over the next few game weeks that you intend to have this player for, and it's by more than 4 points, then I think it's worth it. Like, that's how I would assess the hit. Will Savinho play? My guess is yes, but I honestly don't have the answer to that. Have you heard anything from the press conferences? Yes, I've kept updated with the news. If so, what is the big news in terms of FPL? Not much. I would say, if anything, that Kevin De Bruyne continuing to be out is good for Foden's minutes. Odegaard is still out, but now for an indefinite period of time. Yeah, if not, I don't think there's much big news. Jinwei says, thanks for answering my questions. All the best for Game Week 7. Keep it up, and congrats soon for the 10k subscribers that will come. Thank you very much. We are on, let me have a look at the subscriber count at the moment. We are on 9,420 subscribers now. So we are 80 subscribers away from 9.5, and then we're just gonna push on for 10k. We're gonna push on. What time is it in Singapore? It is almost 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Start Calvert-Lewin or Rogers. I prefer starting Calvert-Lewin still. I'm leaning more towards that. I have Dalot or Greaves as a backup to Lewis. Would you line up in that order? I think for now you have Lewis, and then I would have Dalot ahead of Greaves probably. Just for attacking threat. I have Trent, Konate, Eze, and Nketiah in one transfer. Should I go for Foden or roll for a -4 and buy Gabriel? Trent, Konate, and Eze, and Nketiah. I'll probably just make a transfer on either one of Eze or Nketiah. And I think replacements for Eze, like Brennan Johnson for example, are a bit more exciting than the cheaper forwards. Am I crazy for wanting to go Captain Havertz? No, I don't think you are. Dalot will start, but I doubt we'll keep a clean sheet against Villa. Then I think it's attacking threat they were going for, right, with Dalot. Thoughts, non-wild card yet. Taking out Robinson, who to bring in, Van de Ven or leave Davies? I would go for leave Davies ahead of Van de Ven. Salah has got other Liverpool attackers to take points away from him, but Palmer just looks so good and has Jackson to assist him. He is everywhere and doing amazing. Who has better fixtures? Well, both are tricky fixtures moving forward, but I seem to agree with you on the fact that there can be many goal scorers for Liverpool, but I think Palmer feels a little bit more talismanic than in the Chelsea team as compared to, you know, all the different Liverpool attackers that can score. I think we had like Madueke score a couple of goals in the first few game weeks, and then people like reacted to that and jumped on him, but since then it's gone quiet. And then Sancho, I guess he's alright, but not someone that I think is going to be, you know, taking a lot of returns away from Palmer. So it's Jackson or Palmer, and Palmer obviously being on penalties has much better appeal. So I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. WWE trampoline. What happened to Diaz? I transferred him out for Brennan Johnson. Keep Dalot and Bruno on a wild card this week. I actually made plans to bring Dalot and Bruno Fernandes in game week 8. That has gone out the window. So we'll see how they play against Villa today. And if Ten Hag gets sacked, if he does, then maybe a new manager bounce. We'll see. Brought in Gordon for Diaz. What do you think? Not super keen on the Gordon fixtures, if I'm honest. Play Wood or Rogers? I would play Rogers ahead of Wood. What do you think about this wildcard team? Edison, Fabianski, Gabriel, Greaves, Keane, Lewis, Dalot, McNeil, Bumo, Rogers, Saka, Fernandes, Havertz, Vardy, and Haaland. Probably, I mean, looking at your team, you're probably going to do Havertz to Solanke in game week 8, I imagine, or game week 9. Yeah, if not, I think this team is decent enough. Keane, I probably wouldn't go for, but the rest I think is fine. 8 Nuri plus Sells or Raya plus Greaves on a wild card. Probably Raya plus Greaves. Any Liverpool leaks? Not at the moment. Kyle says, cheers, wish you a good game week. Same to you, my man. Start Rogers or Calvert-Lewin? I would start Calvert-Lewin. Saliba plus Semenyo or Porro plus Johnson? Porro plus Johnson. Right. I think we are nearing the end of the stream. We've gone on for about, let me see, an hour and gone on for about an hour and a half. So any last questions that you guys have, drop it in the chat. I don't think I would make any drastic last minute changes to my team in spite of any leaks. I don't think it would be in terms of transfers. It probably only be who I start. So say for example Lewis is leaked to be benched, then I think Greaves comes in for Rico Lewis, and then I drop him down to the bench. In terms of the midfielders, I think all of them are fine. I don't need to worry about the Luis Diaz leaks. And then up front, even more of even more certainty there. So I don't think leaks will change my lineup that much. It's just the Rico Lewis one. Right, so let me know if you guys have any last questions before we call it a day. Trent and Jota to Konate and Foden. Not this game week. I wouldn't do it this game week. Is it worth dumping money in premium keepers if cheaper ones perform similar if playing in a defensive team? I mean, the appeal of Raya, and is mainly the reason why people are looking at it, is because he not only gets save points, like he gets a decent enough chunk of bonus points as well. So I think looking at premium keepers, my kind of opinion of them changes quite a bit now, in that they're not subjected to a 6-point ceiling. There's other, good ways they can get points. So I would say they're more worth that premium price tag. And if it's Arsenal, for example, it's just a set and forget kind of appeal that comes forward. On a wildcard with 3, would you pick option 1 or option 2? Johnson, Foden, Lewis, or Madison, Gundo, and Vardiol? It has to be the first one. I have Raya, Saliba, and Saka. How do you recommend I should approach game week 9? Who should I transfer and to whom should I transfer? I think Saliba is the one that will leave my team. For example, a cheaper, you could go Vardiol, for example. If not, if you want to go cheaper, I think 8 Nuri is going to be good. If not, I think after you make that move and you want to bring an Arsenal defender back in again, I would take this chance to correct it and do Gabriel in instead, like down the road. So that's why Saliba is the one that I would take out. Pau or Robinson to Davies, or play Pau and roll? Play Pau and roll. Fraser, good luck. Good luck to you. Is Raya a season holder? Yes, I'd say yes. Captain, Foden or Solanke, that is very differential. Probably not where I would go though. Predictions for the early kickoff. I'm going to say that it's going to be tighter than we expect. I'm going to say that. I don't think it's one where Liverpool run away with the game. Yeah, no worries at all. Happy to help. Is there a page that posts leaks, like if Lewis will start or not? You can check out the pinned list at the top of the chat. That is where there's a list of sources that I rely on for leaks, and they're quite reliable. So what's the 2-1 Liverpool? What about the expected goals for Liverpool versus Crystal Palace match? I mean, for sure, I think Liverpool will create loads of chances. I don't think that'll change. But yeah, I mean, actual score-wise, maybe it's slightly closer. I do hope they keep a clean sheet though, because I have Trent. Have a lovely weekend. Yeah, thank you all so much. I wish you guys all the best for the game week 7 games. I hope you get a green arrow for every single one of you guys. and at least it has to be a better game week than the last game week, right? I mean, come on. Alright, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you all for tuning in, for coming down to the streams, for subscribing, for liking. I really appreciate all the interactions with you guys. It's been very, very fun. And yeah, I will be recording the Game Week 8 wildcard video after this stream, after I've seen a couple of lineups. So keep a lookout for that one at the end of today's Premier League games. If not, that is all for the Game Week 7 deadline stream. Thank you all for coming down. Repent Master, VJ, Avish, thank you all so much. And yeah, I will leave it at that. And I will see you guys in the Game Week 8 wildcard video that is coming out later today. If not, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.